Yeah. Welcome back to the On the Fence podcast, where we're commanding the conversation with the voices of Fan Nation. That's all of you out there. It's your host, Rev, coming to you on a solo episode as Kenny is on holiday. It's week 17, and the Washington Commanders are gearing up for a massive Sunday night showdown against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, both teams are fighting for playoff spots, and for the Commanders, momentum is on their side after a historic win over the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's dive into everything you need to know for this matchup and a little bit of fun. Let's go.
We'll blaze a trail, raise hell, raise hell. Hell to the Commanders will prevail. Raise hell, raise hell. Hell to the Commanders never frail.
The Commanders are coming into this game sitting at 10-5 with a playoff berth within reach. Washington simply needs to win this game or for Tampa Bay to lose and they'd be in. The Falcons, on the other hand, they're fighting for their wild card hopes, setting up a high stakes battle. Atlanta needs to win this game and for Tampa Bay to lose. So one way or another, this is going to be a tough match. Now, one thing that's really interesting in this matchup is it's the first ever primetime matchup against two rookies drafted in the same class. That's our Jayden Daniels and Atlanta's Michael Durag Penix Jr. himself. Before we look ahead, let's quickly recap last week's thrilling win against Philadelphia, a game that will surely go down in history. People are calling that the Commanders' signature win. Eagles game was very exciting. Let's go over a few highlights of the game. In this matchup, Jayden Daniels became the first Washington quarterback since 1991 to throw 5 touchdown passes in a single game. That's impressive. Not rookie quarterback, first quarterback since 1991. That was the year I was born, y'all. That's super impressive. On top of that, the offense was in such a rhythm, man. Even though we had a lot of hardship facing those 5 turnovers, they kept going with clutch plays from Jamison Crowder, Olamide Zaccheaus, and of course, Jedi 5 himself. Moving on into special teams, Luke McCaffrey stole the show. I think he amassed over 100 yards in returning yards. Wonderful. He's averaging 30 yards per return, and he helped us secure some very crucial positions throughout this game. Now, the key moment for everybody, which makes this the Commanders' signature win, chef's kiss, right, is when we outlasted the Eagles to rally back after an interception and beat them, snapping their 10-game winning streak. Mind you, Jayden put up 5 touchdowns against what was coming into this game as the number 1 defense. Very impressive stuff that our Commanders are putting on. Hopefully, they're going to take that same energy and move it on into next week, because even though we won that game, we had some deficiencies. Let's turn our attention to Sunday night's matchup, a game with everything on the line for both teams. Now, though this is going to be a big game, there are going to be challenges present for both teams. The Falcons are coming in with a nice balanced offense and a solid defensive front. That's going to be going up against Washington, who has a struggling run game, but an offense that has clutch potential that can hit you at any time. It's going to be really important to see if they'll be able to stop Michael Penix in the passing game. You know, Marshawn Lattimore has shown up on the injury report as did not practice all week so far. This is being recorded on Friday, so maybe that might change. But he's did not practice, which means he's trending towards not playing. Now, this is not definite, but in the event that Lattimore does miss this game, who's going to step up to help call? Are we going to have to rely on Benjamin St-Juste? I know the fan base doesn't always love it when we're in those situations, but I think Juice can truly prevail in this and have a quiet game. A quiet game is good for St-Juste because he's known for getting those penalties. So if we can get him to call Drake London, who's coming off of a knee injury, maybe he's not going to be at 100%, but we still got to watch out, right? Because the Falcons have 2 guys who are only 40 or so yards away from a 1,000-yard season, which hasn't happened since Roddy White and Julio Jones did that. So that's going to be a big thing to watch. Now, speaking of challenges, we do have Terry McLaurin on the injury report. Now, I don't think this is anything that's going to stifle him for Sunday's game, but it is something to watch, especially since De'Ami Brown has not been practicing all week. So we're going to see a lot more of Olamide Zaccheaus. We're going to see some Jamison Crowder, and I'm going to be interested to see how we're going to fill in the gaps if we're missing De'Ami Brown. Now, let's go into the big news. We've talked about some challenges when it comes to injuries, but let's highlight a bright spot for our Commanders. Jonathan Allen practiced all week long. If you don't know, his 21-day window for return started last week in our preparation for the Philadelphia Eagles. So this could be big. We might get Big J.A. coming back for this matchup, which is going to be enormous. Now, granted, he may be on a pitch count, but I do think his presence is going to be really important in stopping this Atlanta run game, which features Bijan Robinson. We'll go a little bit more about that when we talk about our key matchup, but that's one to watch. Now, let's talk a little bit more about some of those other injuries that we're facing. A couple key ones to keep an eye out on. We've talked about De'Ami. We've talked about Lattimore. McGee, our rookie, was also hurt. All of those guys are facing hamstring injuries. Our right tackle, Andrew Wiley, who's been playing with a nasty streak all season long, he did not practice on Wednesday nor on Thursday. So look for Cornelius Lucas to take in that spot. I'm interested to see how he's going to respond against that Atlanta front seven that comes in with a couple underrated dogs. Now, one last key injury to point out is Tyler Owens. Now, Tyler Owens is our special teams standout, and this may not seem like a big one because special teams is often a committee approach, but Tyler Owens has been smacking heads all season long, and I think he's really helped this team maintain some excellent field position. So I'm interested to see how guys like Revo and maybe even St. Juice on special teams are going to stand up to make up for his absence. Every game comes down to matchups, and these are the ones that will be key to walking away with a win. First matchup I'll be watching, Jayden Daniels against the Falcons secondary. Coming into this game, Jayden has been electric against teams. You saw what he did against the Eagles' number one passing defense. Now, Atlanta, on the other hand, they've been solid, but they are susceptible to dynamic quarterback play. Will Jayden be able to keep this energy going on? Atlanta, I believe, has 11 interceptions on the season and 2 pick sixes last week against New York. So let's see how that energy is going to go and that fight through the switches is going to go. Now, we're talking about the secondary, but it is important to mention Atlanta's pass rush. They are currently last in sacks, but don't let that number fool you. In the last 4 games, they had 16 sacks. So that is a trend upwards for them. So I'm going to be interested to see how guys like Caden Ellis are going to impact this game. Next key matchup that I'll be watching, Jonathan Allen and the Commanders pass rush. Yes, we said it earlier, Big J.A. is looking to make an appearance in this matchup. So how's his presence going to impact our Commanders? Are they going to be able to get to Michael Penix a little bit more? Now, Penix, he's no statue, though he's a pocket quarterback. So having J.A. is going to be very important. But even if we don't have as much J.A., our front seven has been playing really well, and I'm looking to see more of Frankie Louvu going around all over the field, and our Hall of Famer himself, Bobby Wagner, all thrown in to help call this Falcons passing game. Now, Falcons do have a couple great offensive linemen, and that is going to pose a challenge, but I think guys like Johnny Newton and Big Deron Payne are going to definitely wear on those guys, especially if we have some Jonathan Allen in the mix. Now, this game is going to be full of great matchups, but my last one that I'm going to be watching is what I'm calling the B-Rob Bowl. This game is going to be key when it comes to establishing the run to control the clock. Both teams have really good offenses, and I think clock control is going to be a key one here. Now, unless this turns into a shootout. Now, Washington coming into this game has had a little bit of a stalling running game, right? Last week, Washington had less than 40 yards from their running backs. Jayden Daniels led the team with 81 yards when it comes to rushing. So we're going to look to see B-Rob bounce back after those 2 fumbles that he has. Those are uncharacteristic for the guy. So I'm really interested to see how the competitor in him is going to rise to the challenge. Now we're talking about B-Robs, and Atlanta has a B-Rob of their own, and that is Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson, he's a quiet guy when it comes to his demeanor. He's not a diva, but he's quietly one of the best running backs. Dare I say top 5 running backs in the NFL. So it's going to be interested to see how our team can stop them. Commanders are near the bottom when it comes to stopping run teams. I mean, we gave up 211 yards to the Eagles. Now, that number may sound inflated, but in the second half, Washington only gave up 41 yards to Saquon Barkley. So if they can continue that second half play for 2 complete halves against Atlanta, look for Washington to have a resounding win. But if they cannot call Bijan Robinson, things might be really tough for our Commanders in this matchup. All right, y'all. It is that time for your favorite, my favorite, your mom's favorite, your auntie, your uncle, your cousin, your niece, your nephew, everybody's bold predictions.
Raise hell.
So we've been talking about how big of a matchup this weekend is going to be on Sunday night. And I got 3 bold predictions to match that matchup. My first one is going to be Brian Robinson's redemption. Now, he had a terrible outing last week with 2 uncharacteristic fumbles and less than 30 yards rushing. Terrible for Brian Robinson. I'm looking for B-Rob to bounce back in a big way with 100 yards or 2 rushing touchdowns in this game. That's my bold prediction. You heard it first. Now, the next one is going to be for one of our defensive guys, somebody who I've been showing a lot of love to all season, and that is Dante the Dog Fowler. I'm looking for him to reach 10 sacks. He's currently at 9.5, so I'm looking to see if he's going to get that. Honorable mention in the sack range, Frankie Louvu is currently at 8 sacks, so maybe he might reach 10 too. But I'm looking for Dante Fowler to at least have 1 sack and get over that 10 sack mark. Now I'm going to give us our last one. Is going to be on special team. Luke McCaffrey. He has been playing lights out on special team, and I'm looking for him to capitalize on that play with a special teams touchdown that's going to swing the momentum for our Commanders and seal this victory for us. So that is my bold prediction going into this game. I want you to go ahead and leave your bold predictions down in the comment. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And maybe if you say something that really catches our eye that comes to, we'll give you a shout out on the next one. So now that we've talked about some bold predictions, let's calm it down and talk a little bit more realistic about the score prediction going into this game. My score prediction for this game is that our Commanders are going to win the game 29-20. Commanders will ride that momentum and edge the Atlanta Falcons and to capitalize this playoff run. Atlanta is not going to go out without a fight, though, so I'm expecting it to be a bit of a slugfest, but I ultimately think that our Commanders are going to be able to pull it away. I just don't know how much the Falcons trust Michael Penix just yet in his first few games, so I think our team will be able to capitalize on that defensively. But let us know what your thoughts are in the comments as far as what your score predictions are. And whoever gets the score prediction closest, I'm going to go ahead and shout you out on our next episode. So please remember, like, comment, and subscribe. All right, Fan Nation, that's your preview of this Sunday night's matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. Let us know who you think is going to be the MVP of this game. I personally am feeling confident that it's going to be Jayden Daniels and that our Commanders are going to continue this upward swing in momentum to get this W against the Atlanta Falcons. But please continue to join us. We appreciate every view, every like, every comment, every subscriber, and we hope to keep this going for you all, Fan Nation. Join us at the conversation. We will be at Gold Lot D this Sunday if you want to join us live for the conversation. We look forward to seeing you there. As always, raise hell. Let's go.
We'll blaze a trail. Raise hell, raise hell. Hell to the Commanders will prevail. Raise hell, raise hell. Hell to the Commanders never fail. From kickoff to the final play.